Ah, yeah, there it is. Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. Let's get a look at the Jimmy Page Doubleneck. That is a beautiful piece. We've got his custom uncovered 6-string side, the covered 12-string, the really long tail pieces, just like his original. So let's go ahead and get this thing out and talk about it. The EDS-1275. This is a behemoth of an instrument that blends a 12-string electric guitar with a 6-string electric guitar, but within Gibson's history, they've made many a different double necks. When they first came out with these, they were big hollow bodies, and then eventually in the 60s, they turned into these more SG-like body shapes. But you can find bass in guitars, you can find mandolin in guitars. Basically, if you wanted it, Gibson would make it for you. But this is one of the most iconic and famous double necks of all time, the Jimmy Page Stairway to Heaven guitar. So how exactly did we get to this? Why did Jimmy want something so massive? When he recorded that song, he utilized a Harmony acoustic, a Fender Telecaster, and a Fender 12-string electric guitar. But when it came time to play Stairway to Heaven live, you can't have all those guitars on stage at the same time. It's rather cumbersome. So he saw Earl Hooker using one of these really cool double neck guitars, so he thought, hey, that's exactly what I want. Now, unfortunately, the original double neck era ended around 68-69, and Jimmy Page's is in 1971. So as with all early 70s double necks, it was built on a custom order. But having this guitar allowed him to look really awesome on stage, playing one of the most iconic rock and roll songs of all time, and it basically put the EDS-1275 on the map. Some other famous double neck users include Alex Lifeson, Don Felder, Slash, and John McLaughlin. Don has signature custom shop ones, and Lifeson, as does Slash. We documented that here, but so far none for John. However, we were talking earlier that Page's is a little bit more special. I mean, it has the custom truss rod covers because it was within the custom order era. There's nothing too crazy about this one. It was not ordered with this specific set of pickups. He ended up putting some Seymour Duncan pickups in here, which the whole uncovered covered look just makes this what it is. It's instantly recognizable as the Jimmy Page guitar. But now, what is the reason for having the tailpiece all the way down here? Because usually a double neck, it'll be like right here. And it's not your usual tailpiece that you'll find on a Gibson either. But we'll see that a little bit more on the Workbench. So there's a few theories here. Some people think he custom ordered it that way because he wanted the string length to be longer, resulting in slightly slinkier feeling strings. Other people think it might have just been a factory error. They weren't making a lot of these and they just decided to slap it on there and the rest is history. But another error reasoning might come down to there were a lot of these with a Bigsby on it, and maybe one of those got drilled, and then they were like, let's just convert it for this one because it was ordered this way. Whatever the reasoning is, it makes it really hard to find strings for these because you have to have them extra long, and when you got a 12-string headstock that goes all the way up to the moon, yeah, you got to make sure that the fitting is right. So hooray, now we're all caught up on the history of the famous double neck. Jimmy needed a guitar to play Stairway to Heaven, and it's really cool looking, so people latched onto it. Unfortunately, this is not the new double neck that Jimmy and Gibson are cooking up. This one is from 2007. However, I do have some more info for you on those. It's coming out this week. That's right, March 14th, 2024. Thanks a lot, Gibson. This was supposed to be my April Fool's of this year. Going, I went to the Gibson factory and stole the guitar. It's the prototype. But no, they're launching it before then, so yeah. Maybe we'll review the new one, maybe we won't. Only if someone wants a new guitar to hit. But here's the deets on those. There are 50 of them being made. They're Murphy Lab aged, they're signed by Page, and the official price is, drumroll please. No, it's not the 100K rumor, it's only 50,000. And they are Gibson Garage exclusives, but we've got 2 of those now, in London and the USA. No trips, no meet and greets, not the greenie package or anything like that, just the guitars. But at the time of recording, I don't know all the small nitty-gritty details, but let's go ahead and learn about these old ones. Back in 2007, they did a run of 250 VOS double necks, as well as 25 Murphy-aged, Page-signed and played iterations. Now, apparently there were actually 26 of them because they gave number 1 to Jimmy, so it was 25 publicly available, and then number 11 was actually donated and auctioned off for charity. But the VOSs, from what I'm able to find through Internet Archives, were around 8,000 $8,000 brand new, whereas a regular double neck back then was only $3,000. Nowadays, they're $8,000 brand new, but those 25 came with a really cool special COA. It had a Led Zeppelin DVD. It was a really fancy piece. It had Page's big signature on the back, all that good stuff. This is one of the 2007 VOS versions that I picked up for your guys' viewing pleasure. And partially because I'm absolutely terrified what is going to happen to the market once that 2024 one comes out. We saw what happened to the Collector's Choice Greenies, but let's check out the case candy here. So we still got the really cool COA, although you don't have that nice leather-bound booklet and the CD and all that other stuff, but I am surprised to see you still have Jimmy Page's signature right here. Although upon closer inspection, those appear to be prints, but somebody had to handwrite your serial number in there. This one has a polishing cloth, a silica packet, our pre-pack checklist, and all our other typical goodies, Mr. Dealer cards, hang tags, and an original cable, as came with many custom shop guitars in this era. So to learn more about this version, let's go ahead and throw it on the workbench and painstakingly take it apart to see what's so special about these Page pickups. Well, that was a lot of work, but let's check it out. So 12-string side first, we have the covered over humbuckers. Notice the nice light aging to the pickup covers there. It looks good. They're supposed to be custom-made pickups just for these guitars, although they look just like 57 Classics with your patent applied for decal on the back. The bridge pickup has more of that left intact. As far as the pickup route, it looks pretty clean. And here's the bridge one. I don't see any specific markings here. It's a historically mounted ABR1 bridge with a post in the body, and it is the wire retainer version of the ABR1 bridge, marked as such on the back. Then here's a look at underneath the tailpiece. It just secures to the body using 3 screws. And this is the 6-string bridge. It's essentially just a little claw that catches the ball end of the strings. A simplified tailpiece. Now we understand this. Now we need to talk about our little middle pickguard section here. It is completely separate from the other side, and if we carefully move this up, you can see all the wiring that you gotta do here. Earlier we saw the bridge pickup goes through that little route, and the neck pickup goes through there. So why do we have so many different wires in here? Because the other set of pickups also come into this cavity, because this is not a toggle switch necessarily. This one selects what pickup you're on, despite actually being a taller one. You would think that this would be like the neck selector, but no. This is the one that selects the neck. So you can have them both running at the same time, just the 6-string side or the 12-string, and then this one selects for both guitars if you want the neck, bridge, or middle. And then these are just your regular 2 volumes, 2 tones for both guitars, with the output jack on the front. You've got the pointers and their black speed and style. Pickup readings within the circuit, we get 7.9 k ohms on the 6-string side, with 7.91 on the neck, and the middle just for fun, 3.99. Now if we come over here, switch it to the 12-string side, our neck is 7.98 k ohms, bridge 8.08, and the middle for fun, about 4. Then what happens if you have both of the necks on? Well, it changes how much resistance you have within here, so I mean these readings don't mean much to us, but about half of what we were seeing earlier. Why would you ever want both on? Comes down to like sympathetic vibrations, and some groups like to have multiple people playing on the same guitar. What's really cool here is I love the way that they actually aged the pickguard. Despite this not being the aged model, it's just VOS, they still gave a vintage hue to the plastics. And you can also see that they kind of scratched and scuffed them up. I like that effect. Now coming over to the 6-string side, our neck pickup looks the exact same, as does our bridge pickup. So I'm curious, in the new 2024 release, are they actually going to put the Seymour Duncans in it? Because I think that would be a nice touch, just to make it different. Here's another interesting thing about the Page double neck. It does not come with these 2 screws for the bridge pickup. All the other ones are there though. So if you want the secret to Page tone, take those 2 screws out. Underneath this pickguard, very similar route to what we saw on the other one. Just a little bit more angulared into our control cavity. And there's a look at that toggle switch. If you compare that to the 12-string side, it's basically like 2 switches being put together. But there's a peek inside that neck pickup cavity and inside our bridge pickup. So you might notice, what are these wires coming over here for? There's only one set of controls for both of the necks. Now you can modify it in any way you want, chop it in half, install some controls here, or just leave the guitar whole and do it. Because as we saw earlier, you've got a little bit of room to play under there. And as far as the bridge, it's the same as the 12-string side. It's just been notched differently because you have to have 2 strings per side on the 12-string one. we can take a look at the contours of the body. I mean, you got to keep in mind, this appears to be a one-piece slab body. That was a big chunk of wood. And imagine if something goes wrong and you have to scrap it. I feel like these double neck guitars grow on you as you get older because they're just kind of a weird marvel. I mean, they've got cool history behind them. And once you can take time to like get up in its face and learn all of its secrets so it's not so mysterious anymore, I can see why guys like Eric Ernest fall in love with these and like all the different variations of them. I've only had the 12-string, 6-string style of double neck, but I wouldn't mind checking out some more in the future. Such giant behemoths. What's always strange to me when you're like playing one is the fact that both of the necks move at the exact same time. They're just in tandem together, because it feels like you're just playing two guitars. Moving on from our mahogany body, we've got the two mahogany necks, the two rosewood fretboards. They both have the exact same inlay situation going on. They are the split parallelograms, similar to what you would find on like a Gibson Dove, and they're done up in mother of pearl. The 6-string side is definitely a little bit lighter in the rosewood color, whereas I kind of prefer this slightly darker one on the 12-string side. It's time to get our measurements. About 1.72 on the 12-string, with a little bit less, 1.67 on the 6. 12th fret 12, about 210. 12th fret 6, 2.04. That makes sense. This neck would be slightly wider because you have twice as many strings. But we have 0.9 first fret, with about the same on the 6th string, and 0.99 at 10th, and 0.98 10th 6th string. Roughly the same as far as the thicknesses go. This one just a hair thinner. Here's the 6th string neck, first fret and 12th fret, and the 12th string side. Now on to our giant headstocks. Yep, this is how Gibson does their 12 strings. It's just kind of ridiculous, and I just can't help but smile when I see one of these. It's like Rickenbacker, they have some tuners get mounted onto the side. It's kind of a clustered situation, but you got to be careful with these because you can ding them up against things. But normally your headstock would like cut off about right there. You just got two of them. And you've got your Gibson mother of pearl logo. You can see the outline around it. That's how you know it's a real one. But no silk screens or anything like that. I think it'd be interesting to see a custom double neck. Like have the binding on the body, just make a completely blocky ebony finish. The binding on the neck with the block inlays. Have the giant custom mother of pearl on it. I mean, that would be crazy bound. There are some interesting flame top EDS-1275s out there in the Ultima series, and there's tons of custom orders all the time. One of my favorite ones is the Steve Clark double neck because it's got triple humbuckers on all of them and a Kaler on the 6-string side. I wouldn't mind one of those in my collection. Here's a look at our truss ride cover. It says custom, but they also aged it nice and yellowed. I found this interesting though. You can see some of the aging compound on the back of the white cover, and that's how they discolored it. And thankfully our truss rod is good on this one. You gotta be careful with the 12-string necks. They have a lot of tension and you can use that rod up. I'm not sure if that's intentional, a defect, or what, but there looks like maybe a small ding or chip or something. That looks more like a workmanship thing rather than careless user, but I could be wrong. 6-string side, it's pretty much just more of the same. As far as our logo goes, they did the headstock better on that, and less tuners, but still a good truss rod with the same style cover, although with less aging on the back. Alright, gotta put back together. Imagine my dismay after I install it. I had some painter's tape over here to keep the strings in place, but I forgot I had it on the underside after I got everything perfect. It's like, oh no! So yeah, if you look, you can see a little bit of painter's tape just lightly sticking out the corners. Honestly, it's about time to change these strings anyway, so I'll leave that till the next time somebody has to tear this apart. But here's what the back looks like. Nice, beautiful mahogany wood grain all over, with a Schaller strap lock on the 12-string side, then the other one at the base of the guitar. But here's what the wiring looks like back here. Nothing too crazy, just your regular SG style one. You can see the wiring there. Now there is actually a ding right there. Must have been like by a stand or something. In the grand scheme of things, not too bad for what the age of this is. Look at the heel joint. It's rather clunky, I guess you could say. I mean, these double necks are very vastly different guitars. I mean, we forgot to even talk about how the 6-string side is actually shorter than regular. We've Because if you look, we only have 20 frets on this, so super high meedly weedly solos, you're going to start running out of room after about the 14th fret or so, and you can't get all the way up there, because Gibsons usually have at least 22 frets. Some other guitars go for the full 2-octave scale, but that's true for both sides of the neck, but it's still your regular 24 3/4 inch scale. It's actually very common for people to modify these to get better upper fret access by shaving away portions or just cutting that off. Sometimes guys will modify this too if they need to get up there, but Page did pretty good not modifying his guitar like that. But those are some nice rounded neck profiles. Here's the back side of the 6-string side. You can see our awesome Kluson tuners. I'm really surprised Jimmy never had to change those. Then on the 12-string side, you get twice as many of them, with your serial number on this neck. Jimmy Page, number 137. And as far as the weight, it's 11 pounds 13 ounces, so nearly 12 pounds. But don't let that scare you. Let's hear how the Jimmy Page double neck sounds. Quite the interesting beast here. It's got a very vintage tone to it. Let's go back to the clean channel now. That vintage jangly tone, and that's not even with the 12 string. Sounds huge. This whole thing just vibrates. Now back to our 12 string side, neck pickup. ambient stuff out of this if you have the 6-string side selected but play the 12-string. So there we go, the Doubleneck EDS-1275 Jimmy Page Signature Edition from the late 2000s. I always forget how awesome these things are to play, because it's easy to look at these things online and be like, hey, that looks like a really heavy behemoth. What is this really going to do that I can't just get with a 6-string or a 12-string on stage? You just have to try it. They're really big resonant beasts. The whole blending of both of the necks on at the same time gives you really interesting ambient tones. But even when it's just the 6-string side selected, it just has this whole different vibe to it. Maybe it comes down to having this giant body, and this one has these special Page pickups that sounded really excellent. I mean, it's pretty much exactly what you want when you think classic rock. So I can't wait to see what they might do with this new release, because maybe they're going to be reissuing these pickups, and then maybe we could buy them later on, you know, 3 or 4 plus years down the road. But despite the awesome tones, it's really, really heavy to use for an extended period of time. I played this one for about 40 minutes, and I need to go sit down. If you're interested in being the next owner of this one, you can talk to me about it. I might hold on to it because, again, I told you, I'm scared what's gonna happen to the market of these old ones once the newer ones come out, but this is a fantastic guitar. But all right, Troglodytes, I hope you enjoy your new guitar knowledge. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you tomorrow on the next one. Take care. If you enjoyed tonight's episode, consider subscribing. I post videos like this every day. And you might even enjoy this next one.